III. Mehmed, with his pen name in Divan literature, Adli, the 26th of May, 1566, Manisa, the 21st of December, 1603, Istanbul, was the 13th Ottoman Sultan and the 92nd Islamic Caliph. He was the last Sultan to go to the Sanjak, the first Sultan to go on a campaign 30 years after Suleiman Farnan, and for this reason he was given the title of Egri Conqueror, because he was at the head of the army in the siege of Egri, won against Austria. The Battle of Hasava, which took place during the period, was the last major victory of the Ottoman Empire on European soil. He abolished the Sanjak order and bloodily suppressed the Salali rebellions, which continued during the reigns of the rulers before him, between 1595 and 1603. Third, he is the son of Murad and Safi Sultan, originally from Venice, whose name was Sofia Bafo, before she was kidnapped and enslaved by Ottoman sailors. His name is Tu. It was placed by his great-grandfather, Suleiman Bermelar, to resemble Mehmed. During his time as a prince, he was educated by well-known scholars of the period, such as Ibrahim Kafer Effendi and Pir Mehmed Azmi Effendi. He was appointed governor of the Manisa Sanjak in 1583. In 1595, his father, the third. He ascended to the Ottoman throne after Murad's death. The first thing Sultan Mehmed did as soon as he ascended the throne was to have his 19 brothers strangled. This incident is one of the bloodiest events in Ottoman history, because most of those killed were babies. After this incident, the people were It is rumored that he held a grudge against Mehmed and did not love him. While Sultan Mehmed Resad was visiting his grandfather's graves after the sword-donning ceremony, Sultan Mehmed III, he does not visit Mehmed's grave and says, "I do not want to visit the grave of the child murderer," says. This incident is shown as an example that the Ottoman dynasty was also disturbed by this issue. Sultan III, Mehmed, his father, Sultan III. He came to the throne while the Ottoman-Austrian War, which started during the reign of Murad II, was continuing. Sultan III. As soon as Mehmed ascended the throne, he dealt with the problems of Austria and Wallachia. In 1595, Austrian forces besieged Esztergom Castle, but Mehmed Pasha, who was 40 kilometers away, did not go to help Esztergom Castle. Although Esztergom Castle, which could not receive any help, resisted heroically, it had to surrender to the Austrians, who were superior in numbers, September 2nd, 1595. Sinan Pasha organized expeditions against Wallachian Prince Mihai Viteazul. Ottoman forces captured Bucharest and Targovishte, but Mihai soon counterattacked, and the Ottoman forces had to retreat. Meanwhile, most of the Ottoman soldiers who fell into the swamps died. Later, the Ottoman raiders, who were subjected to a new attack due to not taking the necessary precautions while crossing the Danube to the opposite shore, suffered great losses. After the fall of Esztergom Castle, Visegrad on the Danube also fell into the hands of the enemy. The loss of many important castles and cities caused the reaction of the state officials and janissaries in Istanbul. The janissaries also wanted the Sultan to go on a campaign. Realizing that the situation was getting worse, Sultan III, Mehmed gathered the statesmen and said, "From our grandfather, the founder of our state, Osman Gazi, to our great-grandfather, Suleiman the Magnificent, all the sultans went on campaigns in front of the soldiers. Our grandfather, Sultan Selim II, and our father in heaven, Sultan Murad III, broke this procedure. Even we made the mistake of ordering the expedition to our pashas at the beginning. Our military sons want to see us at their leadership. Our decision is that we will go on the expedition soon. Let the preparations be completed. We must go to put the infidels to their place." What he said. He replied to his mother, Safiya Sultan, who opposed him by saying, "Valide, we are the Sultan's son of the Sultan. Why did we gird ourselves with this sword in Ayub Sultan Mosque if we are not going to use it? Our decision is final. We will go on a campaign. We will not sacrifice the state for the sake of the throne." It is said that the besieged Egri castle was handed over to the Sultan on the 12th of October 1596. After the conquest of Egri castle, Ottoman troops advanced and encountered a large European army in Hasova on October 15th, 1596. This army also included Austrian, German, Erdeli, Hungarian, Italian, Spanish, French, Dutch, Belgian, Czech, Croatian, Serbian, Slovak, and Polish forces. Thus, the number of soldiers in the Crusader army reached 300,000. The Ottoman army consisted of 140,000 soldiers. Archduke III of Austria. In the Battle of Hasova, fought against the enemy forces under the command of Maximilian, the Ottoman troops were exposed to rifle fire from the enemy troops. Many Ottoman soldiers died. When the news spread on the Ottoman front that the army headquarters had been captured and the Sultan had left, most of the Janissaries retreated, and the Crusader army began to plunder, thinking that it had won victory. Meanwhile, the lumberjacks, tent makers, servants, camel drivers, and cooks, who were the rear servants of the army, started to attack the enemy with the pickaxes, wood splitters, axes, scythes, and ladles they had seized. Since the Crusader army participated in the plunder, its order was disrupted, and this sudden attack caused panic. After the enemy retreated, the raiders and Janissaries gathered again and attacked the Crusader army. An unexpected victory was won, and the road to Vienna was opened for the Ottomans, the 26th of October 1596. Since the backward servants contributed to winning this war is also known as the Kapse-Kazan War in the literature. After the Battle of Hasova, Sultan III, Mehmed returned to Istanbul. Satirci Mehmed Pasha was appointed to the Austrian front. Satirci Mehmed Pasha, who managed to take back the Tata castle, could not succeed against the enemy forces in the Vas region, north of Budin. Meanwhile, although a peace agreement was tried to be made with Austrian representatives, no positive results were obtained. After a while, Austrian forces captured Yanikol, which was conquered in 1594. 1598, Mehmed Pasha had not achieved any military success for 2 years. During this period, some Ottoman castles fell into the hands of the Austrians. Upon the execution of Mehmed Pasha, Grand Vizier Damat Ibrahim Pasha took charge of the army and came to Belgrade. Meanwhile, Austria wanted peace. The Austrians offered to give Egri and Hatvan, which they had previously taken back, to the Ottomans. In response to this proposal, Ottoman representatives asked for Esztergom, Novograd, Filek, and Yanikale. The agreement could not be made. Groom Ibrahim Pasha, who spent the winter in Belgrade, began to surround and siege Konya Castle. While the siege was continuing, the captured Ottoman soldiers in the castle blew up the gunpowder depot to sacrifice their lives, causing the castle to be destroyed. However, an army of 20,000 men under the command of Philippe Emmanuel came to the aid of Konya Castle, which still did not surrender. Caught between two fires, the Ottoman army continued to fight. When the enemy army that came to help withdrew, Konya surrendered after a 40-day siege. The center of the Beylerbeylik was moved to Konya. The Beylerbeylik of Konya was given to Tiryaki Hasan Pasha, Sultan III. Because of this success, Mehmed promised Damat Ibrahim Pasha that he would remain as Grand Vizier as long as he lived as Sultan, September 10th, 1601. Archduke Ferdinand, trying to retake Konya Castle, surrounded Konya with a large army. A small number of soldiers under the command of Tiryaki Hasan Pasha successfully protected the castle for more than 2 months. The Ottoman forces, which began to run out of food, drink, and ammunition, made an unexpected move and defeated the enemy army, which seemed to be many times superior to them, in front of Konya Castle, November 18, 1601. After this victory, Istolni Belgrade and Esztergom were also taken back in 1603. The Safavids broke the agreement signed in 1590, which lasted 13 years. Shah Abbas I took advantage of the fact that the Ottoman Empire was at war with Austria. The Safavids, who tried to take back the lands they lost with the Treaty of Ferhat Pasha, took advantage of the weakening of the Ottoman Empire due to the Kalali rebellions in Anatolia, declared war on the Ottomans on August 25th, 1603. Shah Abbas took Tabriz and Revan. The Safavid state had become stronger again. While the war with the Safavids continued their third, Mehmed died at the age of 37. His tomb is in Hagia Sophia, built in his name. It is in Mehmed tomb, Sultan III, who had works done on zoning. Mehmed had the Gul Marmara Halime Hatun Mosque and complex built in the name of his foster mother, Halime Hatun, and the Yeni Valida Mosque and complex in the name of his mother, Safiya Sultan. Apart from this, Sultan III had many mosques repaired. Mehmed also had the foundations of the new mosque laid. III, who died on December 20th, 1603, at the age of 37. Different sources contain different information about Mehmed's death. It was stated that his health was shaken by the news of losses coming from the Eastern Front, especially the fall of Tabriz. His illness gradually worsened, and after getting worse on December 18th, he died on December 20th. Mehmed bin Mehmed Rumi describes this disease as a stomach disorder caused by obesity. However, other sources state that he died of a heart attack or cardiac arrest.